Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a very last minute women's prize predictions video for 2025. I have been seeing women's prize predictions videos popping up in my subscription box here, there, and everywhere from people that I very much admire, people that I adore. And I feel like I'm the last person on BookTube to put out her women's prize predictions video. So I will leave other creators, other people, other community members, their predictions videos, their videos with predictions. I will leave them listed down below. And I actually tried not to let their videos influence me, so I didn't watch very many of them, but I'm going to go back and watch a bunch of them after I'm done making mine. Also, I just wanted to let you know, I'm not going to say if you're new to my channel, not yet, because I wanted to let you know that I have been doing some fashion shorts, short videos, usually 30 seconds, at most less than a minute, 45-second videos where I am either showing outfits of the day or trying out different outfit combinations. I'm really enjoying that, and I'm really enjoying posting that footage for you. It's actually helping me plan my week pretty well because I will put on outfits that I feel like I could wear to work, and then I often wear them to work that next week. So I just wanted to put that out there for you in case you are interested in fashion or anything like that. They're just little snippets of fun, essentially. So I wanted to put that out there. And then now I will say, if you're new, my name is Shelly. I love following prizes. This is the book channel. Talk about fashion every once in a while. I'm doing a no buy year. If you're not subscribed, I would hope that you will consider subscribing. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Last year, I had this hunch, this inkling, this feeling that the Women's Prize Longlist had some through lines from Longlist to Longlist. I dove into that feeling, did a little bit of research, and I realized that the last several long lists have operated on a loose formula. And the formula is this: my camera is just out of frame, so my camera is just out of frame. My computer is just out of frame, and so I'm going to be looking down at my computer right here. The formula is this: 2 to 3 big named authors, which means that they are well-established authors that have 4, 5, 6, 7 published books out there. They are no stranger to the book world and have a lot of readers out there. Their readers are familiar with their back catalog. There's often one booker overlap. There is often 2 to 5 previously long-listed authors, 5 to 7 debut authors, 2 to 5 books set outside of the US or EU, and a good mix of genres. The only thing I was ever so slightly wrong on with last year's Women's Prize Longlist was that there were 6 books set outside of the EU and US. Everything else was spot on. So I wanted to put this back in my mind as the Women's Prize Longlist is about to come out. I'm wondering if they'll still follow this formula or if anything has changed. And I just wanted it to be there in my consciousness. So let's get to the actual long list. My predictions, it's a bit of a wish list. If these books are on the Women's Prize long list, I would very much be tempted to pick them up. My first prediction is A Great Marriage by Frances Mays. Love the cover of this book, and it is diving into the concept of marriage. So we are following this couple. He's from London, working in New York, and she's from North Carolina, a law student, I think. Yes, set on law school. She's set on law school. Maybe she's not in it yet. Her parents had a beautiful marriage, and her grandmother had a colossal one. And suddenly, the main female of this engaged couple calls off the wedding, and nobody knows why. And so we're diving into maybe complicated feelings on marriage and relationships, the way that our past comes to haunt us. And it just seems like a Shelley book through and through. I like books like this where we are in the icky sticky weeds of our internal lives, and we're trying to figure out or suss out how to clear up the icky ucky muckiness of our internal lives. My next book is a debut. It is Quarterlife by Devika Rege. This is going to be following a group of young people trying to navigate the social and political changes in India. This is Rege's debut work, and I think it would be perfect, if not maybe slightly heavy for the Women's Prize, but oh my gracious, would I be excited if this made it onto the long list. Since the Women's Prize often has a mix of genres, I tried to add a mix of genres. So The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins is a thriller, and it's one of those thrillers that gets me all excited. First of all, it is set in North Carolina, which I'm from, or I live in South Carolina currently. And so anything that's set in a place that I'm very familiar with, I get very tickled about, okay? So it is about an heiress, this wealthy woman, Ruby, who has this tumultuous past. She was kidnapped as a child, she's been widowed 4 times, and now she's died. And people from her past, like her, I think, adopted son, but anyways, people come to her house and it feels like she is haunting her estate. What is really happening in this book? Who knows? We have to read it to know, but it just sounds fantastic. Sticking with a mix of genres, we have The Sicilian Inheritance by Jo Piazza. This is about a granddaughter who has come to believe that her grandmother was murdered. Her grandmother, we come to find out, was a trailblazer, headstrong, taking no prisoners, and maybe her daughter is following, or granddaughter, maybe her granddaughter is following in her footsteps while she investigates what really happened to her grandmother. Of course, it's all set in Italy, and it sounds ever so fun and thrilling, like just one of those fantastic reads. This next author I found out writes in the same vein, or her latest book is in the same vein as Susanna Clarke's Piranesi, that there is this beautiful combination of reality, real world, groundedness with magic. And it is Eowyn Ivey's Black Woods Blue Sky. It's about a couple who moves to a very remote place in Alaska, thinking that they can survive. And the story has a mix of magic in it, which really appeals to me. I really liked Susanna Clarke's Piranesi. I thought it was a really magical read. And so having Ivey's latest book being compared to Clarke was really, I don't know, it really interested me. Now I'm interested in everything that Eowyn Ivey has ever written, but I wouldn't be sad to start with her newest book, to start reading with her newest book, reading her back catalog with her newest book. Okay, time to move on. The next book comes from the well-established author Emma Donoghue. I've read 2 Donoghue books, Wonder and Learned by Heart. Both were historical fiction. Both were really good, well executed. She writes about, usually often right under 300-page books, and they're tight. They keep you reading, they're engaging. I really like them. So her latest book is The Paris Express, which is about a disaster that happened in 1895. And we are going to be following a cast of very eclectic characters. And it seems like a lot is going down, including a group of medical students trying to diagnose a young woman who is possibly dying. So we're following a bunch of people on this thing that ends possibly in disaster. The next book made it to my anticipated releases video. It sounded interesting back then. It sounds interesting now. It is Isola by Allegra Goodman. This is about a woman in the 16th century who is abandoned on an island. She comes from wealth. She comes from privilege. Now she is set in an isolating place and has to survive against harsh conditions. I love a book set in nature. I love the idea of woman against nature, person against nature. That is something that really tickles my interest. And so this was one that I was like, sounds so good. All of the little tingly spider senses of what I like to read were going off. Another book that made it to my anticipated releases video was Let's Call Her Barbie by Renée Rosen. And this is a fictionalized account of how Barbie, the Barbie doll, became Barbie doll. how the doll that we call Barbie entered the market, I believe. And it sounded interesting. I grew up playing with Barbies, and a fictionalized version, depending on how it's executed, was something that put a smile on my face. I actually have reserved it at the library, so I need to go pick it up. Whether I'll read it or not, the jury is still out on that, but I do have it at my library ready to pick up. It had to have been near the end of last year. I read this quiet, charming little novel entitled Ava Moves the Furniture by Margot Livesey. It was a historical fiction book that had this really lovely blend of magic to it, a kind of magic that was more on the magical realism side of things and was beautifully and wonderfully well executed. So I found out Margot Livesey has a new book and it's doing something similar. So it's called The Road from Belhaven. It is about a granddaughter who has a gift of seeing into the future. So I would imagine it would probably be what Livesey is doing. This seems to be her thing, is that it's a historical fiction book following a female protagonist, kind of on the short side. It's only 273 pages, and it is infused with a little bit of magic, which helps shape the story. My final wish list book is Maria, a novel of Maria von Trapp by Michelle Moran. Michelle Moran is a historical fiction author that I have long been interested in. I actually own Maria on my Kindle, and I'm actually going to be playing Maria in our school play. I'm going to be the single adult in our school play playing Maria von Trapp, high on the hill was a lonely go-to, that whole thing. So I have a vested interest in Maria already, and so to have a fictionalized historical fiction account of this incredible woman really interests me, and I'm already interested in Michelle Moran. Oh, and then the two Booker overlap books that we may see on the Women's Prize, I think we might see The Safekeep by Yael van der Wouden. She's just having a year. I think it's the kind of book that would be on the Booker long list. I just wouldn't be surprised. She's a Dutch author who wrote this book in English, and so that was kind of a marking of her success. Also, a lot of people enjoyed the book. I personally did not. Then there was also Enlightenment by Sarah Perry, which a lot of people are saying is boring, and I kind of agree. There were some parts that worked pretty well in that novel, but for the most part, overall, it was kind of a forgettable book. But that was on the Booker. I read both of those books, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of them or both of them made it to the Booker, to the Women's Prize long list. And then my final thing is that I don't have a lot of debut authors on my wish list, on my long list. I think I have one, maybe two on here. No, I really think I just have one. Really. It is true. I only have one debut on my list, and that's okay. I understand that most of my books probably won't be on the Women's Prize long list. I also understand that I'm not the greatest at keeping up with debuts. And I know that a lot of readers hail the Women's Prize because they do put a lot of debut books on their list, often 5 to 9 books. And so, I know this. I know this about the long list, and I also know this about my own reading taste, that I am not out there reading. I do read debuts, but I'm not out there keeping up with the debuts that are coming out. So I know that that's a flaw in my predictions in my wish list. But I'll be really interested to see what does come out. how many authors are going to be celebrated on this long list, and so on and so forth, and just to see how many how many books I'm already currently interested in that will show up on the long list, including ones I might have not even mentioned here. So let's just all keep our eyes wide open for what is happening on March 3rd with the Women's Prize. I'm so excited to talk with you about these books and to let you know what I got right and wrong in terms of my formula. I'm going to stop rambling. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me. I greatly appreciate you. And I will see you all in the next one.